Long day, 17 schools. No. I mean, it's tomorrow. And then I have a few community partners. I need to. Evening, everyone. No, I said great evening. Yes, thank you. So I am, first of all, very thankful, grateful that all of you took the time out of your, I'm sure, was a long, busy day to come here and have a conversation with myself and other community members, stakeholders, so on and so forth. But my name is Dr. Demario Strickland. I'm going to always say when I get to that point that I am your proud superintendent, but I right now am your proud incoming superintendent for the Mount Vernon City School District. It was important for me to begin with engaging the community. Now, I'm going to tell you this. I don't get distracted by the fact that there's so many empty seats, okay? I said if one person comes and one person hears me out, then guess what? That was a great conversation between me and that one person. And hopefully the goal is that the next time that we do these things, you then are tasked with bringing someone else with you. So one of the things about me is I'm a teacher at heart, and I always give homework. And your homework is you got to tell at least 5 people about the next event. I'm doing 3 of these Let's Talk conversations with Dr. Strickland events, and it's really to just level set and tell you about who I am as a person first, and then as an educational leader, just sort of, some of my foundational vision and what I hope to accomplish with you and not for you, okay? I do believe in the big time power of collaboration. So, while we're here tonight, our purpose together, relationships. I made mention on the flyer, it's about relationships. That's the foundation of any partnership, any growing together that we are going to do. I'm here to start off with building trust. I hope that I get a clean slate. I'm new to you, you're new to me, and you have to be able to trust that I am here to really do one thing, and that's mainly serve our children, okay? Next, alignment. I wanted to do a Let's Talk, have conversations, because I have some thoughts already. just by looking at data alone. I've gone to now 13 out of the 14 schools. So just one more, sorry, Graham. Who's anybody from Graham? I'm so sorry. I'll be there, I promise. Okay. Oh, wait. All right. So alumni, just don't tell them that. But you can say that I was sorry. But Graham is the last school that I need to go to. So I'm already starting to pick up things that I'm noticing, things that I'm like, that's really good. How do I push this forward? And things where I'm like, I have questions. Like I need to look further because it's not a judgment. I've talked to members of the cabinet already. I've had ample time with them, which is fantastic because I need to know the team that I'm going to be serving, heard my words, that I will be serving to get this work done on behalf of children. And finally would be results. That's, of course, the major focus goal of anything that we need to do. What are the outcomes for our students and community? And I always like my quotes and stuff. It grounds you. Feel free to use them. You don't have to say I did it. Education is a shared responsibility between schools, families, and community. Okay? It's not one of those, it's all of those. If one of those are not at the table, then guess what? It doesn't build the kid that we want to build in life. So I just want to make that clear. Now, before I say this stuff about who I am, I'm Dr. Strickland. I just became Dr. Strickland in December of 2024, December 17th at like 4:30. The reason why I know that so explicitly is because I've been in school for like 37 years out of the 40 years of my life. Yes, I am 40 years old. I am humble at 40. I've seen a lot of my friends not make it to this age. But I started my life from Buffalo, New York, born and raised. Went through public school. I'm a public school kid. That's me through and through. The reason why I feel that I'm here to stand in front of you is because multiple teachers gave a darn. And they said, we're not going to let him fail. And I believe it's because of them that I grew and started wanting to become a teacher. I mean, I kind of knew I was teaching on my grandma's porch, but I'll tell you how that story the first day of school next year. That's when I started my career, 6 years old, teaching on my grandma's porch. But went to Canisius College, now called Canisius University, worked extremely hard, graduated top 10% of my class, 400 students in the class, got a full scholarship, majored in childhood education, and after college there was this issue where we could not get jobs. I don't know if everyone remembers when like teachers, there were no positions available. Yeah, that's when I graduated. So life brought me to New York City. Taught all boys for 2 years in Brooklyn, in Crown Heights. One of the best experiences of my life. I then could not survive off of $680 a month. 100 of that went to my bus pass. The other 100 went to food, and I had, what is that, 380 left? So I was broke. And what I did was I went on to start and I was on the founding team of a charter school in Harlem called St. Hope Leadership Academy. Charter, yes, has to be partner, but again, I told you I was a true public school boy, okay? I also know some of the things we did, which I am not proud of that charter, but nonetheless, I know that, we still have to work for the betterment of our kids, period. I was walking around in Harlem. I already told you I'm a Buffalo kid, but I'm also a mama's boy, okay? And I don't mind. And I was seeing Buffalo Bills hats. Sorry if you're not a Buffalo Bills fan. I am extremely a huge Buffalo Bills fan. But I was seeing Buffalo Bills hats in the middle of Harlem. Went to go get a salad one day when I was a little chunkier, which you would be like, why is he getting a salad? But the song that was playing was Buffalo Soldier. So I went back to the school and said, I need to go home. It's time to see I need to be with my mom. Glad that I did that. I lost 3 grandparents within the next probably 5 years after having 2 great-grandparents and 4 grandparents. So it was a good thing that I went home, but I was with my mom, and that's what I love, being around her. Went back to my stomping grounds, McDonald's, because I didn't have a job at first. I just took a leap of faith. I was a manager at McDonald's. I loved that job. It taught me a lot about leadership. Don't knock it. It teaches you about leadership. And it's a $1 billion organization, and it really helps you manage people if you want to be successful. So I got a phone call one day saying, we would like you to be the assistant principal of A la Escuela 30. That's School 30 in Spanish. Yes, little did I knew I got selected to be the black administrator in a bilingual school. So I had no idea. I still don't know how to speak Spanish. I only know the choice words because I was just telling kids to cállate la boca. And we all know that, you know what I mean? Siéntate, like stop walking around. So I was using those words, but quickly, the one thing that it told me is it doesn't matter who you are as a person. You know if you're a good leader, you know what good teaching looks like. Okay, so in that bilingual experience, I learned what good teaching looks like, no matter if it's English, Russian, Spanish, French, it doesn't matter. You know the strategies that you want to see, and little did I know it would take me to later in my career to use those resources that I've learned, or those things that I've learned in that school to be successful. Then left that side of town, the west side of Buffalo, and took over a receivership school, Harvey Austin School number 97. Frank A. Sedita was also a receivership school. If you know about New York State data lags, I was able to actually pull that school out of receivership. I was the only constant administrator at that school, myself again, and 900 students with 2 transient administrators. So I definitely give myself credit for that. I knew it was time that I could leave, and I went on the other side of town, which is east side of Buffalo, and that's where I took over another receivership school. That school was tough, extremely tough. I call it Lean On Me Junior, and I was dead serious about it. I mean, when I tell you, I didn't know elementary kids were capable of so much. But nonetheless, you keep your eye on the prize. And what I say is I started my phrase, feed the teachers so they don't eat the students. That's where I started that. Because what was happening is the kids were not getting the love. So you have to feed the teachers so they don't eat the students. When you are a principal, your main responsibility, honestly, is not necessarily the child, it's actually those that report under you. So then they take care of those that you serve. However, when you make decisions, you are supposed to make decisions in the eyes or on behalf of the child. So that's sort of some of my philosophical ways. School would have came out of receivership, but then COVID happened, which I was at home, doing classroom workshops. And then I was minding my business, brought all of our babies back from COVID, and went to Rochester City School District. I had 3 positions in 3 years, all promotions. Started as a chief of schools, which is a principal supervisor, then minding my business, doing the work, being about kids, but serving my principals so that they serve the teachers, so the teachers don't eat the kids. I got a knock on the door, and I was asked, I want you to be the deputy superintendent. And I said yes, because I wanted to ensure that the community sustained. Because the problem in Rochester, if any of you know about what's happening there, there's tumultuous turnover. That's why they can't get anything going. Can't get anything going. I pray that, with their new superintendent selection, that they are able to turn it around, because it's for the kids. The kids need that stability. Minding my business again as the Deputy Superintendent of Teaching and Learning, and then I was approached and asked, would I be the interim superintendent after the departure of my superintendent? Again, for the stability of the students, I said yes. I said yes. I can honestly tell you that every decision that I made this year and continue to make is on behalf of children. And that also doesn't make you the good guy, believe it or not. It's not on behalf of adults, it's on behalf of children. So I just want to make that clear. So, needless to say, and then I'm here in Mount Vernon in front of all of you, and I'm really thrilled, honestly. I'm really happy to be here and share this time. I am an educational leader, committed to student success and community partnership. I'm a believer in collaboration and transparent communication. Huge. I'm a big time believer in transparent communication. If you don't communicate, people make up their own stories. It becomes a telephone game. If you hear something and you didn't hear it from me, I don't know if you need to believe it. And I want it to kind of be looked like that, because I just don't want a wrong narrative to be out there. It really sets the bad tone for any school district. Advocate for equity, excellence, and opportunity. So I'm going to these schools talking to students. I was at Rebecca Turner. That's where the alternative program is. I enjoyed my conversation with two of these students who, after I talked to them, asked me to talk with them about their experience at that campus. That I already knew I had made some type of impact, or made it so that they could talk to me freely about what it is that they felt that was hindering their education. We're going to have to now go back and explain, like, this is why things may have come. However, that's the type of relationships that I'm trying to foster with students. A listener. I value your voice and perspective. I won't be talking a lot all the time. I'm just going to be doing more listening. This is probably the most talking you're going to hear for a little bit, okay? Because I want to spend the first few months is going to be a lot of note-taking, jotting down, typing. I'm a real analytical person. I like to take my notes and then analyze the notes and figure out where it is that I need to go. I already sort of talked about what I bring to Mount Vernon. Student-centered leadership, open communication, a collaborative approach, and data-driven decisions. Those are the apex. Everything is about students. Again, I make decisions on behalf of students. Open communication. I told you I don't want the telephone game playing. So if you didn't hear it from me or see it in writing, it might not have happened. Collaborative approach, we have to do this together. Everyone has to be at the table with a voice in some way, shape, or form. You will notice, and I just had a meeting with Mr. Ramirez and communications team with the Talk Exchange. I believe that's the right name. If I didn't get it, oops, Thought Exchange, there we go. We use that in my district, and look at me, I do use it. But I want to hear your feedback on what the district priorities are. You know what I mean? It's not just about me and what I think. I can forge the vision or move the vision forward, but I need your pieces of what it is that you think are hot button priorities as well. And it's about data-driven decisions. So if the data is there, we have to make it make sense. You know, if you have data that specifically says that students are not achieving in this area, you have to take the time to look at root causes, determine if we need to pivot, determine if we need to forge, because we know change isn't like this. What are we going to do to make sure that we are able to work on behalf of our students? I would say our shared vision, and again, this is going to be changing because it ain't just about me. Every student prepared for success in college, career, and life. Schools that are safe, welcoming, and academically excellent. Families engaged as true partners in education. So as a principal of that school, the Lean On Me school, that was one of my big rocks. I didn't want just parents involved, I wanted parents engaged. There's a difference. And the big rock actually says parents engaged in academics. I want you to continue the things that I'm doing throughout the day with your child at home in the evening, or at least equip you with the resources to help your child after the hours of the school day. So that's what I mean by families engaged as true partners in education. Community, proud of our schools and invested in our future. I've seen the pride already in Mount Vernon. So much that, I'm right in the city, living right in the city. I ain't gonna be sending my money elsewhere. Okay, just an FYI. And I could just tell what pride there is. I've been watching your board meetings. I watched the people get up there and advocate. And guess what? You can advocate for toilet paper, and if you really are passionate about it, I'm gonna hear you out, and guess what? I'm not gonna silence your voice. I'm gonna hopefully help you tailor it to talk about some student achievement, but I am going to make sure that, you know, we continue to make you all proud of our schools. And then finally, together, we can achieve more than any of us can alone. That's, again, one of my foundational pieces. All of us together can achieve. I can't do it on myself. It's not just on Strickland only. It has to be on a lot of stakeholders, all of us together. Almost done, y'all. Here are my initial priorities. This is subject to change. And we can make sure we put this on the website. I don't have a problem with that. Getting to know the community. Listen, I'm telling you, I go to churches. If you're a pastor in here, please don't try not to ask me to bring no sermon, but I could talk about the priorities of the district. But if you need me to throw in a few Bible verses, I will. But, you know, I really want to get to know the students. I've started that, get to know parents, staff, and community stakeholders. Again, it's about that village approach. Analyze an action plan for a successful reconfiguration. So I know that you all are doing that or in the process of this reconfiguration. Rochester, we just underwent a reconfiguration in which we closed 11 schools, opened 5 middle schools, and had to move at least 11,000 children across different areas of the district. And I will say that one of the biggest things, this is what I came into as a transition. I knew the plan, but I had to carry out the plan, which I didn't think I had to carry out the plan. But the biggest thing that made it successful was making sure that the schools that were accepting them were equipped with getting teachers on board to bring them in early so that they can acclimate with the school, making sure students had the opportunity to go to the school and look at it and things of that nature, and families needed to feel comfortable. But nonetheless, I mean, without a peep. Of course, people were upset about the school closures. It's natural. This is what's happening in urban centers across the United States, unfortunately. If we want to enhance our resources, we must make sure that we sort of consolidate things. So make sure we have successful reconfiguration, because we got to bring the babies back in September. So that has to be like one of my top priorities. Reading the district climate survey, that's going to be coming out soon, where I get some initial data. Reviewing data, student achievement, I've already sort of been doing that, reviewing the DSIP, District Comprehensive Improvement Plan, and the School Comprehensive Education Plan. I coined myself as the the teaching and learning superintendent. So most superintendents out here talking about operations and things of that nature. I'm all about the instruction. So you think of the instruction as my foundation, and then when we talk about transportation, I'm thinking about how does that impact instruction? When we talk about school lunch, how does that impact instruction? You have to keep it based on instruction. Intensive review of district finances, not gloating. Rochester City School District had a $1.1 billion budget. Oh, okay. Hey. Amen. You watching? I love it. So not to boast, Rochester City School District had a $1.1 billion budget, and I was able to successfully get that budget passed, and I did not use a cent of fund balance. So I am leaving that district with excess of $285 million in the bank. We have to get serious about finances and really saying, what are we capable of? What are we going to cut? What is not going to be essential for kids in the classroom? Okay, you want to make sure that we maximize resources at the classroom level, but also making things efficient around the classroom. Collective bargaining negotiations, I understand multiple bargaining units are not without contracts. I'm about to hopefully dive into some conversations. What I am doing right now is already reading contracts so that I familiarize myself with them. But I do know that that's a priority. The good thing about my background and experience, I do have a certificate in school business and human resource management. One of the classes I had to take was collective bargaining. Dang, I got it in 2 seconds. No, not that one. No, here, just this. Oh, okay, there we go. Thank you. A gentleman came to your board meeting and he got up there and said, where's the good news? And when I tell you, I've been watching the meetings, and I'm like, that when I tell you that hit here, because I said, where is the good news? I was out there in the streets, that's what I often say, okay? Out there in the streets, I was at your schools, you know that lingo. Out there in the streets, and I'm like, there's so much to be celebrated. And it was great. I love Dr. Smith had the drummers there that one time. I was like, yes, that's the stuff that we need to be highlighting. Because those are the things that are attracting people to this community, to our schools, and then we don't got to worry about closing nothing. Because we got an influx and we got to open up more. Like, those are the stories that I want to tell. But that man, and I forget his name, and forgive me, and I don't see him here because I was going to say thank you. Melvin Campbell. Yes, he said, I work for the district. But he said, spread the good news. And that's something that I do. I spread the good news in a spotlight for the Rochester City School District every single week. You getting something from us every single week with a little blurb. Assessment of staff and filling the holes or gaps. So this is what any superintendent would do. What's going on here? What's going on in this department? What's going on in this department? And that's already begun. Building a strong, sustainable, strategic plan through 2029, 2030. That has to be high priority, because right now we're just like blind mice. Where are we going? where are we going? So that will commence in this fall. You know, it's going to have to start off with some district goal setting. What are we saying that we want for our students? And then you start breaking it down, action planning, and really figuring out what is the direction we want to take our students in the district. I love building the brand. Okay, that goes again with the good news and like, what is our brand? What are we doing that's out there in the streets that's making people say Mount Vernon is the place we need to be? And number one, that's why I bolded in maroon, ensure that all schools are ready to open in September. That has to be the priority. Okay. And I'll let you look at that chart for a moment. This is what I want you to sort of start getting in my brain. This is called the Dr. Cash way of systems thinking. I'm a product of Dr. Cash, I would say. And basically, we're at the bottom, and we want to always constantly be moving up. So it starts with compliance, repair, upgrade. Even if it's good, there's one of those things you can be doing. There's a lot of stuff I'm seeing that's just upgrade. Okay, let's push it forward. How do we improve the process and align the systems? We look at the quality across the system, and then finally that yields effectiveness, efficiency, and sustainability. So this is the way I'm always thinking. It'll be like a poster on my wall, and I always come back to this way of thinking. I believe in educational change using the 3 I's. Starts with the initiation. I'm currently in my 90-day plan. I mean, it's like a little earlier than that. Going to implementation, so taking all the information that I gather in the 90-day plan, going to strategic planning and short and long-term goals, and then you want to make sure it's institutionalized. And that yields those outcomes of student learning and organization capacity. Again, student learning being the first, then organizational capacity. And then, can't forget about the classroom. Told you, I'm teaching and learning superintendent. You got to have a well-managed learning environment with a strong curriculum, rigorous, with planned lessons, and that's how we get effective schools and classrooms. You might have heard this quote, too much of education is by chance, not by design. I don't want to leave stuff to chance. Transparency and accountability, this is what I promise. Okay, I promise to be honest about challenges and celebrate successes. I promise to listen more than I speak. Unless we really talking about something good, like the Bills versus the Jets or something. I know. Well, you know, it'll be all right. Listen, just an FYI, if the Bills ever lose on Monday, please don't call my office. I'm just putting it out there 100. I'm not a good steward for life the day after a Bills loss, but I will definitely, you know, I take it hard. I promise to follow through on my commitments. I promise to admit when I don't know something. You're not getting fluff from me. I ain't gonna lie because I can't keep up with the lie. So I'm gonna just tell you straight up, I'm gonna have to get back to you, or someone will get back to you, because I can't keep up with stuff I don't know. And I promise to always put students first. And what I need from you all is your patience as we build relationships, your honest feedback and perspectives, your partnership in supporting our students, and your trust as we work together. And notice my list is longer. Now it's your turn. I done talked a lot. Thirsty as ever. Yeah, a little bit of cotton mouth up here. It's your turn. So collective action and shared responsibility. I want to hear, like, what's the forward momentum, okay? Yes, I'm going to learn about some of the past mistakes. But remember, I already said I've been watching and looking at the board meetings. I've been, getting what's happening out in the streets and things of that nature. But how are we going to move forward? This is the time for empowerment. This is, again, your voice in shaping the direction that I help the district take. Unity. Again, it's not just me on my own. I'm going to pick up some salient points from you all, and believe me, I remember. I remember. And then optimism about what we can achieve together. Please have an optimistic attitude about what our students are capable of. We have to start knowing that our kids and our staff are watching everything that we do. You will know, how, again, spreading that good news. I'm going to be intentional with doing that at the board meetings, because we got to lift our staff. We got to lift our students. We got to lift our families. We have to do that. It's a must. And then here's some conversation starters. What questions do you have for me? What would you like me to know about Mount Vernon? What ideas do you have for our schools? How can we work better together? And then, of course, you could stay connected. There's 2 more Let's Talk sessions. One before I officially start on July 1, and then one after I'm in the seat on July 1. I might be in a polo that day because it's going to be hot. I forgot about that New York City hot. It's different than the Buffalo hot, okay? So I'm a little nervous about it, honestly. I hope that one is at a air-conditioned building. Is it, please? Okay. And then you will always get community updates. You will always get community updates. I believe, again, transparency, hearing your voice, lifting your voice, and it's all for the sake of our kids. And again, your voice matters. What are your hopes and dreams for the students? What are your concerns about our schools? Probably, give me a concern and then hit me off with a solution, okay? Because we all can complain all day. And if you don't know the answer, I don't want to hear it. Just save it. But give me the solution and give me a viable solution. What strengths do you see in the community? Again, lifting the strengths of the community. I already see so much. I went to that Denzel Washington school. That auditorium is fantastic. Said I want to have you could hold proms and stuff there or something. I don't know, concerts. All right now. See? Told you. I had to learn that from you. That should have been one of the first things. When you go to Denzel Washington, this is what it is. But I appreciate it. I love it. You look good, though. All right? But honestly, how do we highlight those stories? I need to hear about stuff like that. I will do my research, but I need you to also bring me along, too. What would success look like to you? And this is because you know our students and community best, and I need to hear your voice. Lastly, but not least, I am not a hop around person. I need to be very clear. So as long as the board got me, y'all got me for a minute. And that's why I intentionally wanted 4 years, not just 3. 3, you start seeing the things moving the way you want to. 4, you really okay, here we go, and we got this grooving. So that's how important this is to me. Okay? All right, how do we want to do this with the questions? And Any brave souls? How, like, technicians? We got like one of those. Oh, okay. I mean, yeah. Yes, we are live stream. I would like the people to be able to hear that can't make it. Absolutely. So if you want to talk, just come on up. Sorry. Or you can be loud. Please, you can use this mic. Okay, here we go. Oh, whoever got me.
Oh, all right. Hi, Dr. Strickland. Nice to see you again. Okay, so this is from our parent PTA chat. How do they plan to implement more hands-on, less screen-based learning moving forward? What kinds of attention will be paid to arts and sciences?
Good, very great question. So first and foremost, I was just talking about this on the way over with the gentleman in the cabinets, and I said I've seen an abusive already, and you know, but we have to make sure we give the why behind the what. You know what I mean? So it really is making sure that the parameters that are set are being truly followed, okay? Because there is a certain amount of time called the sweet spot that students have to fall into, but also have a specific number of classes, a specific number of lessons being passed where you know that the student is actually making progress. And the only other concern is that too often we are not teaching at tier 1. We're always intervening on our kids. And if you don't teach at tier 1 at grade level and you're always intervening, you're never going to catch the kid up. We like to plug in the hose, and then guess what? You know what I mean? That's how it goes. Plug in that hole, and then the water go up there. You have to make sure that we are providing tier 1 instruction. Hands-on learning experiences was one of those ways. And then finally, arts and the arts. I'm big on the arts, okay? As a principal, I made a commitment to the arts. I had 2 full-time art teachers, 3 full-time music teachers, 1 was a band teacher. And that's what I did with my school-based budget. I even used some of my school-based budget money for those, I call them cheap interventions. Those are the interventions. You know, those are the interventions that'll help our students gain success. But I'm going to be talking with Dr. Doggett and making sure that we look through the curriculum. I have a lot of different thoughts. I already started seeing some things, and I'm like, okay, tell me more. Remember, it's not a judgment. It's tell me more, and then I'll bring in my perspective. Next. I hope I answered your question, ma'am. Absolutely.
Hi, my name is Frances Lightsey. I'm a lifer here. I started kindergarten in 1961 as a student, and I left here in 2015 as a principal.
Awesome. Thank you for your service.
Absolutely. And I live here and I'm serving here still. What I want to know, we've had a lot of talk about parent engagement. We've attended a lot of meetings. We've had a lot of community forums, and we've never really gotten anywhere. In order to fill those holes that you're talking about,
Yes, ma'am.
we have to have the community and the parents with the capacity to fill the holes before they ever show up at our doors. Will there be a strategic and very comprehensive plan for engagement of the parents and the community? Because it has to start there. You can't, I know firsthand, it can't be done alone inside these 4 walls.
It's a great point. So I just want to take you back to the third to last bullet point. We don't have a roadmap right now. We need a strategic plan. The strategic plan has goals. It has your action steps, what you're doing well, what your root causes are, and why you're not doing as well as you want to do. And parents have to be involved in that process. I intend on bringing a group of community members, a group of parents, a group of students, a group of pastors, bringing people to the table to help develop that strategic plan, to say these are the collective values of the people of Mount Vernon, and these are what we aspire for for what we want our students to do. And it can't be my voice. I just got here. You know what I mean? I would not hit the mark. So I have to bring all those individuals to the table, and they will represent the collective voices. And here's the thing, what I find is that often we forget the students. So some people engage families, parents, we forget the students. The students need to be at the table. And that's what I intend on doing. I don't mind monthly, quarterly. I would say more quarterly is something I can commit to. Meeting with the parent organizations. We already met with them. I met with them my first visit because they're important, very important. And I took copious notes. And that's one thing you're going to find with me. I'm like, and April 1st, 2017, you told me. Like, you're going to be like, oh, snaps. Yes, I take copious notes. And that's a promise, engage families. More questions? So it's just not me talking, my mouth is hurting. Amen. How you doing, sir?
Good evening. You talked about there's a difference between parent involvement and parent engagement. So can you define what parent engagement means to you? And secondly, you talked about your commitment to this district. We know that you're leaving a position in another district. So can you share why you felt comfortable enough to leave that district? Like, what were the things that you put in place to let you know, like, my time here is done. We left this in a good place.
Awesome. So I call parent involvement. You can't just tell me you just called the parent to tell so-and-so about how they did for the day. That's just involving them in the process. You actually, when I talk about engagement, I'm talking about, so today we learned how to do double-digit multiplication. These are the strategies that I taught your child and would help benefit. Or next week, come into the building, I'm teaching a small group of parents on how to do these strategies to help your students decode. You can learn the same strategies, and I have a kit for you to take home to actually do the same thing at the house. That's engaging the parent. Most of the time, people just picking up the phone, so-and-so is bad, and that's it. And then the mom and the dad or the auntie, they're like, I know they bad. Like, I sent it. That's why I got them out my house. Like, but if you teach them how to engage them, then you're changing the trajectory of the child, and you're also not just giving the news, the same news that a family member knows. So that's the reality of parent involvement versus parent engagement. Second, great question. Rochester happens to be one of the big fives in the state of New York. The third largest or fourth largest behind Buffalo, New York City, Buffalo, Yonkers, and then there's Rochester. Unfortunately, they can't get out their way. I was the, let's say, 17th superintendent in maybe 10 years. And I was only interim. I did apply. However, I will say that there was politics involved. Because if I've actually been going into schools, and some of the people of Mount Vernon have connections with Rochester, and you will hear that they're not so happy about the fact that I'm leaving. So let's be true. I mean, that's what it is. The reality is I decide to continue my superintendent journey because I could have went back to my deputy role. Remember, I told you I was sitting there minding my business, and then they asked me to do the job. And yes, I know I did a darn good job. But the politics is, and it's not about, we're not thinking about children and sustainability. That's why I took the job in the first place. My first initial passion was just being a teacher. And then all these positions found me. The one time I really didn't get found was when I went and applied back to McDonald's. Said, I'm going. You know what I mean? I did that. I need a job back. Everything else found me. That principalship on the east side of Buffalo found me. Going to Rochester in the first place found me. Becoming a deputy from a chief of school, I was minding my business. Minding my business when I became the soup. And honestly, minding my business for this position. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, yeah, my application is in the portal. Yeah, I'll do a screening. And it led me back down here. And all you need to know is that I'm going to give my all. I can't be nothing but transparent. I gave my promises. That's all I can live by. That's all I can live by. And told you I'm about teaching and learning, instruction. That's first and foremost for our babies. I hope that answered. More questions?
Over here. Hello, Dr. Strickland, and welcome again.
Thank you.
As I mentioned earlier, I'm a parent of two students here at Honor Academy, and you mentioned that you've been involved in the closures of, not involved, but you've seen the issue of closure of schools. And as you know, Honor Academy is one of the schools that will be closing. And as a parent, I was curious, have you had the opportunity to review the criteria that was used and the factors that we're taking into consideration for the closures of schools? Because I don't know if you've heard from other families from the, Honor Academy community, but we were very surprised when Honor Academy was selected as one of the schools. A meeting is being held here, so obviously the auditorium is in good enough condition to hold a meeting. It's been a school in good standing, and I've spoken with other, district staff and family members, and structurally they feel that this is a building in good condition. So my question is, could there be a reconsideration in the future about the buildings that were closed? And is there a possibility that they could be reopened? Because I feel that this building is an asset to our students versus it being an asset for another purpose in the future. And I guess second question is, when will we know what the plan is for familiarizing students to the new schools that they are currently slated to go to?
So great, thank you for those things. So first and foremost, no, I have not reviewed the criteria that determined why certain schools were selected. And not because I don't want to, but because what I have to do is I have